I feel great about that unit right now. Coach Myers has done a phenomenal job of bringing those guys together. They have individual skill sets that are pretty impressive. Offensive line, that means nothing. Coach Myers did a tremendous job of bringing those 5 guys together, playing good ball together, overly communicating together, working with Seth. Honestly, that was something of, lack of better terms, concern for us with Jacob Likes leaving. Seth and Jacob played together for 3 years. They could finish each other's sentences. So now we got Trent to the point where he can do that, the rest of the O-line where they can do that. Jonah's done a tremendous job of leading those guys. Jonah's been here longer than I have, so he's done a tremendous job of that. So I'm excited about that group.
When you look at Chris Adams, just what about him makes him good?
Everything. Athletic, angry, mean, physical. Did I mention athletic? Because he's really athletic. I like everything about him, and he's a good dude, good person, good teammate. Worked his way up to where he is right now and has done a really good job of doing that. But excited that he's on our team right now.
Memphis has a good problem to have, right, Coach, where you have so many playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. How do the guys through fall camp, how do you all kind of work through that to know that everybody is going to get their share of touches?
Who told you to ask that question? Listen, here's our motto on offense: take advantage of the when the ball comes your way. We got one ball out there. We got a lot of people who can make plays. A lot of people who are good with the ball in their hands. As I've said from the get-go, it's their job as players to prove to us as coaches they deserve to be on the field, and then it's our job as coaches to find a way to get them on the field and get the ball in their hands where they can maximize their skill set and be successful. One thing we are overly preaching this year is selflessness, camaraderie, the one goal. So right now, no player in this team is selfish in the sense of I need this many touches. They understand if they get a lot of targets and get a lot of touches in the game, that's because I feel they're in playing good ball. If they're not, then they got to play better ball in practice. And that's the way it works, that's the way it is, and that's a professional relationship that we have and the professionalism of the guys on this team.
Coach, it'll be the first time fans see Mario Anderson in real life on Saturday. How do you describe his run game? Because he said a couple weeks ago he wanted to break James Williams' single season record.
That's an individual goal that we don't talk about. He has unbelievable contact balance. Football term right there. When you hit him, he doesn't go down. He has unbelievable balance when he runs. He runs with some anger. He runs with some physicality. He's faster sometimes than what he appears. We're excited about him in that running back room to step into that running back room and make that running back room a very good group.
Harris wins the backup quarterback competition. What did he do well during camp?
Played very consistent, and then it goes well before camp. I think I told you last spring when you asked me that question, and you were great at that, by the way. He's been very consistent since day one of spring ball. Now, he hasn't been perfect, but he's been very consistent and put himself in a situation where we as a staff feel he is the best guy to give us an opportunity to go in and save a game if he would have to do that. He is very consistent. Cade Cunningham played very consistent as well. I think Harry just had a little edge on him in that sense. And then, I can say it because I've said it to those guys in there. Arrington has the best skill set of them all, but as a freshman, he's still learning. He's still putting it together. So right now, Harris is the number 2 guy. If something were to happen, Seth's helmet comes off, his shoe comes untied, Harris be the guy to go in the game. But as I told those guys, and I don't lack of better terms, lie to them at all. Or try and make them feel good about themselves. I feel all 3 of those quarterbacks, we could put a game plan together to win us a football game on Saturday afternoon. I was very happy with what those 3 guys did. Harris was just a little bit more consistent than the other guys when it came to that, and that's what we'll need to be in the game if we're in that situation.
Coach, you talked about Mario at the running back position. Obviously, Sutton also listed on that 2 deep at the all. What do you kind of see that he brings, and how has his game developed over the last couple of years?
Sutton Smith? Sutton Smith is dynamic. He's electric. He'll make you miss in the phone booth. He was very good at that the last couple of years. What I've seen from him, we have seen from him since spring ball started, is he's become more of a complete running back. Like a lot of running backs of his skill set in high school, they were able to break it outside and run for 60 yards every other carry. That doesn't work at this level. And I think he found that out, and now he's making running back type cuts to keep the ball in A gap, but it's supposed to be in A gap, B gap, but it's supposed to be in B gap, and then still allowing himself to be who he is, which is a very electric player that allows us to move him to play some receiver, play some running back, play every single position. So he's one of the guys that we move around. He's one of the guys we keep the defense guessing. He's one of the guys that we overly game plan to put the ball in space to him.
You get to watch any of them without them, and what did you see?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a big part of this week, my man.
Well, I mean, on Saturday when the game was playing.
I did not watch. I watched their film. I didn't really watch the game that much. But we were in our mock game practice that night. But we watched. Obviously, I watched the film. They are a talented group. They're athletic in certain positions. They're physical up front. They ended up, wearing down a little bit towards the end of last week, but they're a good defense that we got to come and handle ourselves. We got to handle our own business this weekend. That's something we're preaching to our guys. I hate the term week one mistakes. It's kind of like I think we've talked in the past about young quarterbacks. Saying a kid's a young quarterback means that's giving him an excuse to make a mistake. Week one stuff is excuse to allowing teams to make mistakes. We can't handle week one stuff. We can't allow ourselves to be in that situation. We've been practicing since the beginning of spring ball. In nowadays college football, you go spring ball, a couple weeks off, right into OTAs for the summer, right into fall camp. So we've been going. So we got to be dialed in. We got to play very fundamentally sound and take care of the little things. And we got to handle ourselves on Saturday.
Anybody in particular stepped up this spring or this fall that coming in, you had great players. This maybe impressed you, stood out a little bit?
No, I'm going to give you the coach's answer on that. A lot of guys have done a good job. I'm expecting Anthony Lanspear, I call him Lampshade. I'm expecting him to have a big year. That guy works harder than, no offense to him, but I mean, he ain't ever out of this facility. He's over there in the jugs catching the ball. He's in the hot tub. He's in the cold tub. He's doing push-ups. He's doing something at all times. He's put himself in a position to have himself a big year. I'm happy with everyone. There's no one, the other way I would look at that, there's no one that we're upset at that didn't meet their expectations. Everybody pushed, everybody came together, everybody put themselves in a situation where, they deserve to be on the field. Now we got to find a way to put them out there and let them be successful.
Coach, when you ride on the tunnel on Saturday, it's going to look very unique in the stadium. Have you thought about what it's going to look like visually with the crowd on one side and there's a on one side? Have you thought about that?
We were in the stadium twice during this fall camp and saw it, which is part of the reason to get them over there so they could see that. But it's just like we talk about anything. When the atmosphere, when you kick the ball off to start the game, the atmosphere is basically 120-yard field, 53 and a third wide, and that's what you're focused on. So in the long run, we're an old enough group, we're a mature enough team. That's not going to affect us in any sense. If we go to a stadium with 1,000 people or we go to a stadium with 100,000 people, it's going to be we're going to be dialed in as what we're doing.
Speaking of Lansford, him and Doyle said the start of the year last year, defenses were kind of doubling them just because of how important the tight end position was, and that helped them improve their route running. Just how have you seen that part of their game improve?
Yeah, those guys are awesome. Those guys have some old school in them. When I say that, they bring their lunch pail and their hard hats to work every single day and get better at whatever they need to get better at. If I didn't talk to them one-on-one, I wouldn't be able to tell you what their voice sounds like. When they're out at practice, they ain't talking. They're just going to work. They're getting better every single day. So I'm excited about those two. Their route running has become really good for what we're asking them to do. And like I said, I think Anthony, Red's a little bit of a dirty work guy that can go make some plays for us. I think Anthony is a complete tight end. I'm expecting big things from him and a big year for him.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, appreciate you.